Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. Today's video is going to be another update on the potential for a hurricane, tropical storm, tropical depression, subtropical storm. Either of those is fair game according to the models. There's a lot of disagreements with the models, so that's why I'm saying that all of these solutions or names or storms are possible, these varieties of storm, because one model, the GFS, is showing a category 3 hurricane, and the other one, the European one, which these two models are the biggest models, are the most accurate models when it comes to long range, and they're the most used. The European model is showing basically nothing, so that is just hard at this point to make a conclusion which one is right. But if we go, before we do this, please guys consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It's really helpful. So it's like the red subscribe button. Click on it, you're subscribed, and this shows up. You might want to hit that bell. You might want to hit that bell icon, because then it gives you a notification every time a video is posted. That's really up to you. You could also like the video. It's really up to you guys, and I would really appreciate it though. So I'll show you the CMC model, which is actually neither the European model or the GFS. It's a Canadian model, and it shows pretty accurate with the thunderstorms that we had today. So it's definitely a good indicator. It's a good model of what's to come. And you can see that right here off the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, something just starts developing, and at this point just looks to be a very weak low, 1,004 millibars in pressure, which isn't necessarily, anything strong, but that could definitely intensify once it reaches warmer waters. And that seems to be this case. You can see that this does strengthen into 994, 993 in millibars in pressure, which is fairly strong for a low, but not really strong for a hurricane. But again, some heavier rainfall amounts are possible with this. If we go to total accumulated precip with this, you can see that there are some yellows showing up, so that is indicative of 12 or more inches of rain, which is definitely significant. Anywhere you see purple, that's quite a bit of rain. But if you see red or yellow, that is a really good dose of rain, and you need to be watchful for that. Another thing I want to bring up is the southeast has been having a lot of rain. I mean, let's just look how much rain is going to fall before the actual hurricane. You could see already 1 to 3 inches of rain has fallen before this hurricane, and this is what's still to come. So what has already fallen that this model doesn't show, the grounds are saturated, there's more rain to come outside of the hurricane, and then the hurricane comes, or the tropical storm, tropical depression, and that could leave, again, more issues like flooding, flash flooding, river flooding, and that is definitely not good. So even it might not be a hurricane, or might not even be considered a tropical storm, maybe subtropical like Alberto was, this could still leave quite a bit of rain and quite a bit of damage. So I would now like to show you the GFS, not the rainfall, but the actual what it's showing in terms of MSLP and precip. So it's pretty insane what it's showing. I don't think I've ever seen the GFS show something so absurd, and it's not even that far out. I mean, this hurricane is showing at around 100 hours out. Something like this that the GFS is showing it would be more typical at hour 384. However, at hour 100, this is still, and actually I just realized this is the new model run. So this is the new model run. If you go to the older model run, same story. So at hour 156 is a hurricane developing. That's definitely a hurricane at this point, and you can see it just decreases into 958, which is, I don't think that's gonna happen. But again, it has been extremely consistent with this. I mean, it has been unprecedentedly consistent with this, which doesn't occur too much with the GFS. It usually pops up a storm, and the next model run it's done. This isn't the case between consistency of couple model runs. This is the case of consistency within weeks. This has been showing this for a couple of weeks, and the reason I didn't want to show you this model run is because it's not done. You can see it only goes out to hour 144, but it's still showing a different location than it has last time, but still a fairly strong system, 979. That is a category 1 hurricane, and it doesn't look too good in terms of many issues. Wind, rain. If we go to back to the 18Z, what actually makes landfall, and this would, according to this, would be making landfall near Houston, which would be a disaster since they're still cleaning up from what has happened. You could see that these rainfall amounts, again, 12 to 24 inches of rain, which is quite a bit of rain on top of saturated areas. So this is definitely something we need to keep an eye out for. And if we go to MSLP, and which is basically shows the precip and the winds at 10 meters height, we could see, if we go back to hour 78 and progress the hours through the storm, is taking a little bit time to load. Let's go. You can see right here it's starting to form off the Yucatan Peninsula. Sorry, this thing just keeps popping up, and I guess there's something wrong. This doesn't want to load, but basically there's going to be a storm, a low that is going to be coming off the Yucatan Peninsula into the ocean, and these ocean temperatures are really warm and are very favorable for a development. If there's a low, you place a low in the middle of it, there's a good chance it could develop in a strong low or even a system like a tropical-like system. And you can see that if we were to look at these winds, that is I actually don't know exactly what color that is. I can't even tell from this far out. 959. All I know that this would be this would be winds about 190 miles per hour, sustained wind gusts. I don't even want to say it because people will start panicking, and I just don't really want to cause confusion at this point, but it's just a possibility. While let me show you guys the European model, and it doesn't show you the precipitation, but you could tell if a system is forming based off the tightly packed millibars, which indicate stronger winds, which usually come with the hurricane. And you can see that it indicates nothing, like calm weather, warm temperatures, absolutely nothing. And there's going to be a new run coming in, but I doubt it will be changing. And again, it doesn't happen that often. That's why this hurricane is absolutely almost a guess, because we don't know whether it could anything from a major disaster, category 2, 3 hurricane, which could damage lots of real estate and affect many people's lives, while the European model is showing absolutely nothing. And those models both have been used for forecasting hurricanes, and they have been known to be fairly good and accurate, and most of the time at this rate of 100 hours out, they usually agree. But I want to take you to this website called Ventusky. You could check it out for yourself. Just type in ventusky.com and it will show up this. You could see that it's basically what it's showing, what a GFS is showing on tropicaltidbits.com. That's another website you want to use if you want to get into this, want to get your own little details about this. So it shows a low or even a wave, just a disturbance in the atmosphere, and by the end of the day, this is 4 o'clock in the morning, by 10 p.m. in the afternoon, it has developed into a tropical storm, or almost a hurricane. You can see 68 miles per hour. If we go to the 15th at 10 o'clock, day later, 24 hours later, you can see that this hurricane develops into a 80 miles per hour. So that is technically a category 1 hurricane. And then the 16th, which is 2 days after, starts developing. It just bombs out at 95, 94 miles per hour sustained. If you want to go to wind gusts, it's even more scary. You can see hundreds are popping up, 110, 115 mile per hour wind gusts, which is very destructive. And this could be actually a category 2 almost hurricane. And if we play this in motion, yes, this would be headed right for Houston. But again, this isn't really accurate at this point, because we don't even know, like I mentioned before, whether this hurricane will be forming or not. So it's really not rational. It wouldn't make sense to talk about where it will hit and the exact impacts of it. It's never too late to start, thinking about this and preparing, but in case of an emergency, that's what will save you. But at this point, we might not even know whether this will start forming until it's the actual day of the disagreement, where one model says okay, we're going to be having the hurricane developing today, and European model is showing, nope, we're going to have a high pressure in control. There's going to be no bad weather. It's going to be really good, fair weather. And then we might, from there, decide which one's more correct. And I'm leaning somewhere in between, somewhere like the CMC model. I don't think it's going to be a hurricane as big as the GFS is showing, for several reasons, because it's still early on in the season. The wind shear is pretty high, and it's just not too favorable in the atmosphere for such large hurricanes of this strength. And the CMC only goes out to 156 hours, which doesn't still encapsulate the hurricane. But we go back to this, and you can see this is where it starts forming, and I think we could have a tropical storm definitely occurring, but maybe not a hurricane, but definitely something to watch. Stay tuned. If you want more details for yourself, go to tropicaltidbits.com right here. And if you want even more details, go to ventusky.com. It's also a great website. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider subscribing and liking my video. And as always, see you guys in the next episode.